Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and yeah, I'm as surprised as you are, but Mario Wonders Online is actually good. Nintendo has explained it in the past, but to be brutally honest, and no disrespect to them, they didn't describe it brilliantly. I mean, they got the broad strokes, but it's only when you actually get your hands on it that you realize what's actually going on. So there are two things specifically to cover, and that is just online with random people and online with friends, and they are quite distinct. And also there's like just not, online multiplayer, offline multiplayer, local multiplayer. We're not going to really talk about that because they did a good job of talking about that. But online with random people, what's that like? Well, you'll just be playing a level and you'll suddenly start to see some sort of silhouettes moving around. And at first I thought, is this live people actually going through? And I was trying to communicate with them by, the only way you can online, crouching repeatedly. But at one point, I happened to see the silhouette of someone I know, so I fired them a quick message and said, "Oh, are you playing this level at the moment?" And they said, no. So it's not live. It's essentially like, and I don't like to use this term because it's just going to confuse matters later, but for argument's sake, it's a ghost. So I'm going to have to rename what the other thing is, even though they call it, you'll see. So this is essentially kind of like replay data of how other people have played the course that you're currently on. They will appear just sort of at points. There doesn't seem to be any massive rhyme or reason to it, but it's sort of there and you can see how people are doing various things. And it can actually be reasonably helpful because you'll see them and you'll see, oh, sort of maybe there's a hidden block there, or, they did this, that's how they got up there. Ah, I see, and it can give you just a little bit of help, but the help doesn't end there. If there's a silhouette near you and you fall off the edge or, just get hit by an enemy to the point that you would normally die, you come back as a ghost. I'm going to call it a spirit just for distinction. You come back as a spirit, and if you're able to move over and dash into one of these silhouettes quickly enough, then you will just respawn. Pretty handy. Sometimes you may respawn into awkward situations, but hey, better that than dead. Now, this may sound a little bit overpowered to some people, but I do want to reiterate, you don't have to play online, you can just turn it off. But also, it's not as overpowered as you might think, although there is another element that does make it even more potent, which I'll discuss in a moment. But essentially, it doesn't happen all the time. It's not like every time you die, someone has to be, sort of a silhouette of someone has to be reasonably near you, or the game just goes, nope, you're too far away, you're donezo, baby, and you just die as normal. But I mean, come on, we've all had those times where we've been in the middle of a level and we've just, sort of got this, we got one of the coins, or the big purple coins, or we just missed a jump or something like that, or an enemy just popped out and we just weren't expecting them, and we sort of think, I get it, I'm supposed to die, but I get that now? Can I not just carry on? If only I brought another mushroom with me or something, or you were just about to use it. And so to just have that option of, if I can quickly find someone else, I can survive, that's pretty good. But what if no one's around? What if no one's silhouette is nearby enough? Well, there is another little thing that you can do, and that is using the standees, which, again, I don't know if Nintendo really described it very well. I didn't understand it until I got my hands on it. Dropping a standee by crouching and pressing the X button allows you to essentially create a sort of checkpoint for other people. They essentially behave in the same way as a silhouette does, but obviously they don't move. So you drop a standee, and, if you drop it near like a pit where you've had real difficulty and you sort of like, people are going to have trouble with this one, so you drop a standee, and then, if they touch it, then it activates, and if they die, they can fly back to it as a ghost or a spirit. God, I'm confusing myself. And they're back. And obviously, you can do the same thing with other people's standees. You can't do it with your own. That would be overpowered. More to the point, standees can be placed anywhere that you can crouch, so that just means solid ground. It doesn't count for Coyote Time when it comes to jet run and stuff like that. I tried. You just can't crouch. But that means if there's a hidden block or something like that, or you just want to sort of like point someone roughly in the right direction because you're like, this is tricky, I could give people a hand, you can do that. You just, you stand on the hidden block, put a standee down, and yeah, it'll just be floating in the air for them, but they'll put two and two together and go, I've worked it out. If this all sounds a little bit basic for online functionality, you're right, it is. And frankly, that's what I want. I don't want loads of other people coming into my game and bouncing around, bouncing off me or anything like that. I just want something in the background, unobtrusive, that I can just leave on. And I'm gonna be honest, I've just left it on. But better yet, if you put the console into sleep mode, obviously you'll lose your connection, because why would you want to keep your connection? You're not using the system. But then when you come back to it, you turn the system back on and you're playing Mario Wonder, it goes, okay, you want to be online again, don't you? And it just remembers. It doesn't ask you or anything like that. It just remembers and it'll connect you. Simple as that. I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but honestly, when it comes to Mario and online, the bar is pretty flipping on the floor. But that's just with strangers. What about with friends? I've tried that out briefly as well, and you know what? That's also flipping good. If anything, I would actually argue it's the best, potentially best possible implementation they could have done. You create a room, and then you can just wander around. You can wander around the overworld by yourself. You're not locked in. There's not like a head of the party or anything like that. You just wander around, and you can just play the game as standard. But if you go into the same level with other people in your room, you can then start a friend race, and that's actually really good fun. It's just that, a simple race to the end, and you don't even have to do that if you don't want. You can use the voice chat over the Nintendo Switch Online app if you're mad, or you can just use Discord like a normal person. And you can say, sort of, what am I supposed to do? Where's the final thing in this level? Where's the thing I haven't found? And they can just say, oh, yeah, you know what, let's go in there. I'll show you where it is, and you just follow them. It's actually quite good. Like, it's actually quite good. Is it groundbreaking? No. Is it revolutionary? No. But for the Mario series, it's both of those things. Again, we're talking a bar down here, and that stuff with your friends is actually live. It doesn't have to be precise or anything, so I imagine there is a sort of amount of delay or something like that. You know, it's not real time or anything like that, but it's near enough. Because it doesn't have to be exactly real time, realistically. The friend race thing, you know, it probably synchronizes and you may not actually be leaving at exactly the same time, but you know, it all comes out in the wash at the end. As long as the system knows, that's what counts, which means no, dropping of frames and stuff like that, or waiting or buffering or anything like that. It just plays as though you are playing single player, but with extras. And that is just the way to do it. Could they have done more with it? Maybe, but to be brutally honest, a platformer like Mario, it doesn't really lend itself to online play that well as it is. It's so intrinsically a sort of a single player experience that you only can really have sort of like semi-online features. And I think this time they've absolutely nailed it. You know, they could easily have gone down the route of, you've got to wait and or something like the bloody Mario Maker 2, where great idea in theory, terrible idea in execution, where you're bouncing off everyone and it's all dependent. It has to be exactly real time and it just doesn't work. There are limitations with the genre and there are limitations with the technology that Nintendo is willing to implement. And I think they've done it. They've played to those limitations and they've made the most of what they have. And I actually really like it. And I hope you will too. But what do you think? Were you hoping to bounce off everyone and move at 5 frames a second like in Super Mario Maker 2? Let us know with a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you go online with that subscribe button? And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.